in colleges or communities. The census is promoting programs such as youth complete count committees. So you could organize that in your area, and basically you can get the message out to your peers and to your parents and other adults about what is important, because they may not know what the census is, and you may know that, so you can share that with them. It doesn't have to be big events like this, and it can be anywhere. It can be in your area, in your college, or whatnot. So.
All right. I also have one more. Sorry. Is there any personal contact information that's given out when you get the survey?
When you get the questionnaire in the mail, no, there's no contact person. You just have to fill it out, gather your family together, explain it if you haven't explained it yet, that everybody should be included on the questionnaire. You just fill it out and mail it back.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Father, mother, several extended family. There's several pages for you to fill out the information for everybody, so that everybody can get counted. So.
Yeah. There are houses here.
There are houses where the family's there. Of course, with some aunts and uncles and grandparents also living with them, connected, related to the core family. But there are also households where they have friends who are living there, who just arrived from the Philippines and still looking for work. You may have some distant relatives, not at all related to you. Now, if you are the head of the family, then you're not so sure whether you include all those people. They're not your aunts, they're not your uncles, they're not your grandparents, but they live with you in the house. So, what will they do? Thank you.
It doesn't matter what they are. If they are in the United States when that questionnaire arrived, and the reference date is April 1st of 2010, then they get to be included in the questionnaire. Everybody, just put it as friends. The relationship to the head of the household will be my friend. Anything you want to put in there. The need here is that everybody needs to be included in that questionnaire. Because if we don't, then the benefits allocated to your community will be short.
So all of them will be in that form?
Everybody. And if it's more than that, there is the phone number that you call for an extended questionnaire. It's a phone number at the end of the questionnaire. But I believe we can have up to 12 people in each questionnaire. 10 to 12. 10 to 12 people could go in a questionnaire.
Thank you, ma'am. And the next questionnaire to ask question is Gino. Mr. Ram.
Yeah, the question is, as you mentioned, the questionnaire will be mailed out between February and March to take effect on whoever's living here in April. What about people who may be traveling out of the country at that time? They might not be even here during those times. Is there a possibility for them to register overseas in the embassies and consulates? For example, people who may be part of the Peace Corps, who may only be there for a year. But I also know people who will be spending maybe 4 or 5 months in the Philippines. They're American citizens, but they'll be there during that time. So how would they be counted?
They need to be counted where the usual residence is. They could be on vacation for 1 month or 2 months. But if they reside here in the United States for more than 6 months, this is their place of residence, so they need to be included in that questionnaire. If it's somebody in the military, they will be contacted and they will be counted on the military, wherever they are located. If it's a diplomat, it's counted here, because the diplomats are here. On a time basis, I think is maybe a 6 years appointment. They need to be counted here.
Oh, I understand, but how would they get the questionnaire if they're overseas at the time? Is my question.
You mean the house? There's nobody in the house?
Exactly.
There's no one in the house. That's a good question. We have to get back to you on that.
Ma'am, do you think the local consulate and that's in the Philippines, they cannot handle that?
We can't.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, if you're in the military, there's military barracks. I mean, we have practical group quarters. If they're in one of those locations, there are questions there also.
Yeah, also, just to let you know, we will have what they call the non-response follow-up, and that extends past April 1st. So if no one's there, they don't get informed back, they'll send a letter, and after the letter, if that's not received, then we send census workers to knock on the doors about 8 times, I believe. 6 times. It's up to 6 times. Oh, okay, 6 times. We won't bother you that much. But we do have, and that program actually lasts through the spring and not through the summer. So there is.
So one thing to keep in mind is that as you go out to different communities and talk about filling out the questionnaire and mail it back, please make sure that they do that, because by not responding to the mail, there's a lot of money that we actually spend for 1% of the population, just 1% of the population that do not return the questionnaire. The government spent $80 million, 1% of the population. Money that could be allocated to our communities. Now, if for any reason they say, well, I wanted to fill out the questionnaire, I forgot about it, I put it in the garbage, we do have our biggest operation, which is the non-response follow-up, like Alvin was saying. So every household that we don't have a questionnaire back will be nagged. The doors, they will be knocking on doors, and it will be done 6 times. Evenings, on a weekend, very early in the morning. So to make sure that we find them at home, and to make sure that everybody is included.
Thank you. And the next place, Roxanne.
Particularly in Queens, where you have a lot of homes that have illegal apartments, there is no problem, because as you know, it's confidential. Our biggest concern, however, is if a homeowner who knows that he has illegal apartments will not pass that information to him, because the form does not go to a name, it goes to an address, So it's, believe me, when I say it's confidential, it's confidential. The trick is to get people to fill out the form and mail it back immediately. That is the most accurate, cleanest information and way of doing the census. If you don't want people knocking on your door up to 6 times, fill it out, mail it back immediately. Right? You don't want people knocking on your door, because they'll do it.
Well, and to add to what Carmen said, which is very true, so the forms don't have names. If the owner of the house gets it, may decide just to fill out certain information, not everybody. So it's incumbent upon those other residents then to say, go to a Be Counted or Questionnaire Assistance Center to request a form for themselves, so they can fill it out and be counted. And of course, also the questionnaires have phone numbers, so they need to take it upon themselves. So they should know that it's safe and confidential, and that's the way to be counted also.
Thank you. I have a second question as well. College students, how would they be able to be counted if they're off campus or they're on campus away from their actual residency with their parents?
Colleges, students in colleges are counted as group quarters, according to the census. So wherever, because they reside, because they're going to college in that area, that's considered their residence, because they use the resources in that location. So same with I think prisons and nursing homes. Yeah, where people who reside. Yeah, group quarters. That's the definition. So college students be considered. That'd be group quarters if they use resources in that area.
If they reside, like in, let's say, a dormitory. So.
Thank you. And by the way, those who want to ask questions, kindly line up over here.
It was just one other thing I wanted to add with regard to college students, and this might interest all of you. When it comes time to international students that are attending college and they're here on F1 visas, they get counted here. And I have a feeling a lot of international students aren't aware of that. They may feel that they're enrolled in classes for a temporary amount of time, so they shouldn't be counted on the census, and that's not true. If they're here